Okay, I'm going to try this. If you have a long crystal and it's drilled through the side of the top like this, or even if it's drilled through here, it doesn't make a difference like what direction it's drilled through, because once basically you're going to put the wire through to anchor it, and then you're going to make your top loop. And so if whichever way it's drilled, you can just twist the stone or twist the loop or whatever. But in this case, these particular stones are drilled kind of the pretty side of the stone is in front, and then the hole is on the side. Although, you know, you could almost just pick a side you like. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put, I think I'm going to take about a meter, about 3 feet of wire. This is going to be 20 gauge. And I'm going to go bring it to the stone to the middle of the wire like I usually do. I'm going to fold 2 parts up, give them a couple twists so the strands are together. Bend them around like this to make my loop, my top loop, which can be the bail. Oh, wow. That was totally not in focus. Well, you guys got to enjoy that cloudiness. Just try to make it unfocus again so we can experience that. That was really enjoyable. There we go. Mystical wonder. What is happening? What is he? At least his voice is so enjoyable. It doesn't matter what I look at. I could just look at nonsense because his voice is just so soothing. So anyway, all right. So I'm gonna fold these over, twist them, make our loop, and then we're gonna wrap around the stone. You can go 2 or 3 times. I think 2 is good. I'm gonna wrap around, maybe do a little pattern, a little loop, a little fancy design like that. We're gonna come to the bottom and make another loop. And then, this is just a little, could be a smaller loop, it's just to anchor it. Then we're gonna come back up to the top behind the stone. We're gonna wrap it around here once to anchor it, and then we're gonna start doing our pattern that I do on a lot of things, where it's like loop-de-loop-de-loop, and I keep on changing the position of the loop. So it goes like this, basically. It goes this way, and then this way, and then this way, and it's over and under, and it makes like a really cool, and it never comes out perfect. You know, they kind of twist every which way, and it looks very much like a leafy vine, or like some kind of filigree pattern. And when you have double strands especially, it's just the easiest way to make any piece look fancier. So we're going to give ourselves kind of an oval shape with that pattern. So we're going to go doop, 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 and then come around here, anchor it to that loop again, and then finish our way up with our filigree loop-de-loop. Come back up to the top, finish scarfing this, cut the ends, tuck in the 2 sharp ends into the little bowl made by the scarf, boom, and we're done. And there's our pendant. Little bits and pieces of stuff you've probably seen in like 10 other videos. So this is a dyed blue agate, really pretty. See if you can see it on the black. It shows up better sometimes. There you go. That's kind of a better. It's a little lighter than the camera's showing you. In any case, there we go. That's kind of what it looks like. So pretty, so pretty. It's about 1.5 inches. It's about 3 centimeters. So let's do that. 20 gauge silver plated non-tarnished wire from Parawire. They're doing a little bit of sponsorship now, so I can shout them out. Parawire, you get really good prices if you're going to buy large spools like this, and you get really good variety, and you can talk to the people on the phone, and usually they're pretty nice. Okay, so take what I said, about 3 feet. That's kind of a meter. Put it in our, where is that? Oh, it's up the top here. Okay. Bring it to the middle. Ooh, maybe I should take more wire for this. Oh, too late. Let's see if I can get it done with this. All right, so I'm gonna fold this over, twist, twist. Pick which side you want to be the front, which is the prettiest side. Kind of like this side, okay. Right angle, bend it. Now you can use a little paintbrush or a little skinny pen or pencil or something, but I'm just gonna use my fingers because my fingers are calibrated for ultimate loopage. Loopage is a real word. I just made it up just now, but when I say something's a real word, poof, it becomes a real word. You could try to argue it, but you'd just be wasting your time. So now we're gonna do our first come across. Now you can just go straight across, but you know, I get bored with straight across, so I like to, and here, a word about this. If you're coming across a stone, you can do whatever you want if you have a plan for how to make it strong, but if you come across a stone, if you come across the face of it and then go back the same way you came, you're gonna make kind of this loop that's very snaggable. But if you come across the stone and continue across all the way to the other side, then it's anchored here. It's anchored on both sides here and the side it wraps around. So it makes it stronger and a lot less prone to being snagged. So as you can see, if I took this and just wrapped it back this way, then it would just have this loose area. So I'm going straight around across, makes it stronger. Coming around again. This time I'll just do a little squiggly back and forth. Pressing it really tight against the stone. And whenever I do these little squiggly back and forths, I do a little overkill. Like each time I bend it one way or bend it the other way, I bend it too much. So then when I bend it back, it kind of comes out to even. I'm constantly, as I'm wrapping a piece, I'm constantly pressing in every particular area because I want everything as tight as possible. If I feel a loose end anywhere, I'll immediately readjust and try to make everything tighter. And now we're going to come down here like this and make our bottom loop. Now this bottom loop right as of now is not super secure because that could just be snagged right out. And that's why we're going to, hopefully the next part we do is going to make it stronger. Now I'm actually going to do it different than the diagram. This is going to make it stronger. I'm going to come across the top again like this. Try not to get it too busy, but I don't think that's too busy. I think that's fine. And now I'm going to anchor it around the top loop. And boom, and here's where I'm not sure I didn't run out of wire here. I have about, this one strand has more. I didn't find the exact middle, that's what that means, but that's okay. So let's just dive in and hope for the best. So we'll start making our cute little filigree. Now, if you take more wire than me, if you're wiser, then you'll have more wire bouncing around everywhere and hitting stuff, but you'll also not have to worry about running out. So you can make your little filigree pattern bigger. I'm going to make this kind of small and tight since I have limited wire, and small and tight always wins the day. Big and loose is risky. Sometimes it looks fun. Other times it just is too big, and generally tiny things are easier to sell because everybody likes tiny things sometimes. Only some people like really big things. So when you do tiny things, you have a much wider audience that's going to be willing to buy it. Now, I like to, you can roll these really tight and get them close together, or you can spread them out. I'm kind of spreading them out here, but I really like when they're rolled tighter. I mean, when there's more little loops going on. I'm pressing really tight with my fingernails to try to keep the strands side by side. These strands will continually try to roll over each other and flip, and it doesn't change the strength, and it looks cool either way, but this is just, I like them to stay side by side. So I have to keep pressing them flat and they'll keep trying to twist, and I have to keep untwisting them quite often. So anyway, so here you have it. You can come out in a wide oval, you can make really big loops, you can do what you want. I'm going to stick pretty close to the stone because I don't want to run out of wire before I get to the other side. And now, and you can also, it doesn't have to be all sticking out. You can hide some of it. It can look like it's coming out from the stone and back under. So I'm going to pull this right here and anchor it around my bottom loop now. And now I can do the other side. And then I'm going to adjust this just the way I want it. A little bit like that. You could also do this with 18 gauge, but you have to have really strong fingers because 20 gauge alone can be challenging. So that one went this way. So this one is going to go, I don't know, just to put it this way. And yeah, I'm almost going to run out of wire. Learn from my mistakes. I don't often make mistakes. I usually make like one or two every decade. So here goes this one. Hopefully I won't make another one until 2030. Another mistake, that is. See, I'm almost out of wire right there. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Well, when you have this much wire, don't risk trying to bring it to the very end. You need a little bit of wire to do whatever you're going to do to anchor it. So in this case, I'm just going to wrap it like this. And anytime you have a loose end, this is an easy thing to do. Wrap it around something and then roll it into a spiral. And as long as it's not a big, gigantic spiral, this is going to be the tiniest spiral. It's barely a spiral. As long as it's kind of a small spiral, you can pretty much wedge it in somewhere and it's not going to stick out too much where it's going to like be in danger of snagging or anything. So see that? I can even fold it over here, and it looks cool. Cute little spirals in random places just look awesome. I mean, they just add to the piece. You can almost never go wrong with cute little. Now again, that's barely a spiral, but if I had saved myself more wire, I could have So now what do we do with this single strand? Is it going to look weird? Nah, we'll make it work. We'll make our last loop. And what I'll do to make up for the fact that, or out of focus again, to make up for the fact that this is all doubled, and then suddenly it's single, we'll hide it a little bit by coming around twice with it, like that. So it's not totally hidden, but it's enough it'll trick your eye if you're just looking at the piece as a whole. And try to balance this side with this side. Again, we're trying to make it kind of an oval shape. But that's me. You can do whatever you want. You can have it come out in a diamond shape. You can have it just rectangle. But ovals and teardrops are generally great pendant shapes. You can't go wrong. If your piece genuinely resembles either an oval or a teardrop, you know. And use this last part to scarf it. Scarf it multiple times. Now I have some wire left. I could tuck it in, or I could do one more of those little spirally things like I was talking about. And this right here, this is a little bit weaker because of that single strand. So look at this. I could even come up here and make the rest of the double strand and trick you into thinking the whole thing was double strand the whole time. I'm considering that. Or I could just make a big fat spiral and jam it somewhere. I'm trying to think, which do I want to do? I think I'm going to bring it through here, and that anchors it right there. And then I am going to mimic the last strand right there. See that? So no one will ever know except you and me that I once ran out of wire. And then I'm going to pull it through this. What's it stuck on? There we go. Pull it right through there. Look at that. And now I can do a big fat spiral. And that little cute spiral already looks good, so we know a fat one's going to look even better. You gotta be careful when you're rolling your spiral. You want to press really tight. Make sure you're not going to slip and scratch. It's a good time. It's really easy to scratch. Okay, and where do we want to put it? We want to put it right on top of the little one. Not that we want to cover the little one, but it's kind of a great place for a spiral. Right? Isn't that cute? Adds a little variation. And bring it down a little bit lower because it's sticking out too much. The little one is kind of poking it, so it sticks out more than I want. There we go. And this is a little bit flimsy. I mean, it'll hold up for most wear and tear, but you know, if you want, you can go back with really thin wire and make yourself a little matrix in the back to really tie down those parts. And just to show you, let's do that. Really thin gauge, 26 or 28 or even 30 is what you want for this part, because you don't want the matrix to show really. It's just this is just structural. Where's the end of this thing? There it is. Now, I'm going to take extra because I don't want to make that same mistake again. Let's take like a whole foot just in case. Probably not going to use it all, but all right, let's see. How do we do this? Easiest way is, for me, with the patterns I do, is to always anchor from the middle of the wire, and when you're adding another wire to the piece, always anchor it right at the top where the scarf is. It's just so easy. So make sure it blends into the scarf. Make sure it's not like showing itself. And I just noticed this wire I don't like sticking out. I'm just gonna crimp that in a little tighter. And that kind of moved everything, so I'm gonna check and make sure everything's still where I want it. Yeah, I kind of like that because this is sticking out, so it's a little asymmetrical. That's sticking out more, and this part is hanging down a little more. So you see, you have that loop balances that loop on the corners. Okay, so we'll wrap it in here. Make sure to get it real tight. Lock it in. Give it, cross the wires. Don't cross the wires if you're doing some electricity stuff. Don't even listen to that. I don't know anything about electricity, but just whatever you do, be safe if you're doing electricity. Don't do electricity when you're making a jewelry piece. Like, don't plug this in or electrify it. Bad idea. Okay, now it's basically, we're just going to thread it in and out and just kind of make like a crosshatch down and then back up again and then tuck it in the scarf, wrap it around a few times, tuck it in, right? So I'm just trying to figure out what's the best place to put it in, where I kind of want to hide it. I kind of don't want it to show, but I also want it to look smooth. I don't want it to look like forced. So there's one right there, that's good. And you can go around twice if you don't want it to like slide all over the place. So, right? Cool. Now let's see how it looks in the front. Do you see it? You really don't even see it. I mean, you can see it now because I don't have it pulled tight. But once I pull it tight, you're not going to see it. And that almost looks like a spider web. It's kind of cool, unless you hate spider webs. So this one, and now I'm going to, and you don't have to do every loop. You just doing 2 or 3 is going to strengthen the whole piece. So now I'm going to do this one, get it through here. I might only just do it once or twice across each side, and that'll be enough. Because like I said, it was already like, whoa, how did that get over there? It just slipped right through the loop and popped out over there. That's weird. Yeah, don't let your wire just slide where it wants to. You designate where you want it to go. Sometimes you can follow the wire. Sometimes the wire wants to go where it wants to, and that makes your piece look smooth and fluid. But other times, the wire is just being a jerk, and it'll just slide where you don't want it to, and you slide it right back and be like, hey, Mr. Wire, I'm in charge. You're subordinate to me. This is not a democracy where you and I have an equal vote. I am in charge, and you do what I tell you to. That might not sound fair, but sorry, that's just the way it is. You got to be firm with the wire. Don't let the wire push you around. The wire is not in charge. All right, so now I crossed those. So I just went doop, doop, wrapped around, and then came back, crossed those. Just do one more. It's already super strong. That strengthened it tremendously, like tenfold almost. Feels like. I didn't really use any kind of measuring device to know for sure, but so I'm wrapping it twice around that one too. See, I'm guiding the wire with my finger as I'm pulling it through so it doesn't slide somewhere I don't want it to. And then at the last little bit, I give it a good tug with the pliers to get it so it locks in really tight. And do this one. Sorry if my voice still sounds a little bit scratchy or hoarse. It's coming back slowly. It's coming back, I believe. All right. So got it twice around here, and we are strong. Let's bring these together one more time, give them a little twist, a couple twists. Whenever you're going to do a twist like that, you're locking it in. Don't just do one twist. Always do like 2 or 3. And now we're gonna wrap it around the bottom loop again. It's always good to have a loop at the top and the bottom that are secure when you're anchoring stuff. And look at that. We have just enough left. Good thing I took that extra, right? You'd think I'd learned by now to always take extra. And we're just going to come straight up. I don't even like coming straight up now. I'm such a stickler for finding things that might snag and securing them. I think I might actually loop this under somewhere. We'll loop it under right there. No, I went somewhere in the middle. There we go. Loop it under right here. Make sure I got both strands, just making life more difficult for myself. Loop that one under and loop that one under. And sometimes when you're looping them under, to get them to pop back up is hard because they'll try to slide under more things that you don't want them to. Sometimes you got to get your fingernail in there. Sometimes you got to get your tool in there. Sometimes you got to bend the tip a little bit so it pops back up. But I think I got them both now. There we go. And one's a little longer, so they're trying to go at different. Got to get them both in unison. Okay, there. Now you can get rid of that loop. Pull it really tight. Make sure you got both of them if you're going to pull together. Pull it really tight. Okay. Double check the front. Make sure you didn't pull anything out of whack. See how you can like see little spider webbies, but pretty much your eye is distracted by the big beautiful loops. And now we'll go the rest of the way. I could have tucked it in a couple places going up, but that's getting ridiculous at this point. Let's just end it. So we're up at the top. We're going to blend it right into the scarf. You can blend it different places, but this is kind of just going right across the top. So I'm just going to go with it and go across. Go around it a few times, gets it extra strong. And then this wire, I don't like to just tuck it because it's super thin, and I feel like it could just get, if you bump it, it could bounce right back out. So what I do is I give myself a little extra, a little more than I normally would, and then I roll it and I make a little mini spiral. And I'm doing these together. You can do them separate or together, but I make like a little, doesn't have to be good. It's just, I kind of bunch them up. So then when I go to tuck them, there's like a bulk, and that bulk gets jammed in there and kind of sticks in there better. And then usually if I'm tucking really thin wire like this, thick wire will hold itself in the tuck. But if I'm tucking in really thin wire like this, I'm still always nervous it's going to pop out and scratch someone once upon a... Okay, the video just cut out at some point, and I have no idea where. So I'm just going to say, whatever part you missed, let me know if you need me to do this tutorial over. But basically I took very thin wire and I just did a matrix across, just a little back and forth, wrapping it tight, and then pulled it back up, wrapped it around the top, tucked it in, put a little tiny dab of E6000, little adhesive just to keep any sharp ends from coming out. Make sure that the glue doesn't touch the stone, because that would make it not a pure wire wrap. And there we go. Put some jump rings at the top and nice pretty chain, and we're done.